Hello, welcome to another edition of Night of the Triangles. I'm Emlyn Williams, Mike Maunders behind the camera there, and we're looking again at the night of the 19th of January 1983. Now up to now we've contacted some witnesses from the Swansea area, but apparently on that night reports were made in Cardiff, Cwmbran and even Merthyr Tydfil. But today we're here at a place called Underwood, which is on the east side of Newport, to meet Jonathan Davies, who's got a very interesting report from when he was 15 years old. And Jonathan's here today, meeting us at the exact place he was when he had his sighting. So here's Jonathan. Can you tell us all about it, Jonathan?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like I say, I was 15 years old. I can tell you why I know the date, etc., but we can go into that later. Basically, I found myself in this field on a cold night, 19th of January. It was freezing cold. There was a mist on the ground just below my knees. Very cold night, and I had no idea how I got here. I had no memory of the day at all. I didn't know, I mean I was 15, I was still in school, I didn't remember going to school that day, I didn't have any memory. I literally was in this field and I was stood looking at the woods on the opposite side and thinking, what the hell am I doing in this field?
Yeah.
How did I get here? And then I'm looking, it was a clear sky, and I'm looking up and thinking, wow, look at them stars. And just as I'm thinking, look at them stars, all these stars moved. Every single one of them, the whole sky was what I thought were stars. They weren't stars at all. It was literally either one wedge-shaped craft, a giant wedge-shaped craft that was, as far as I could see, that direction, and it was overlapping the woods that direction. It must have been miles wide, basically.
Really?
Now, I'm not sure if it was three of these craft or one, because it was like banks of, you know, lights like that, 1, 2, small white lights in a wedge shape, but there was 1, 2, 3 like that. So it was either one giant craft. I mean, I couldn't see stars between them, so it might have been one giant craft or three wedge-shaped crafts inverted. So that basically, I'm stood in the field.
Inverted, sort of pointing upwards like that?
No, they were pointing towards that direction. So they were like that.
Pointing west?
Yeah, pointing towards Newport. Yeah. So I'm looking at this thinking, oh my God, what, you know, I didn't have a clue what had happened that day. Anyway, I watched the lights move away. They were going very slowly. It was absolute silence, not a whisper. It was like I was in a bubble. You know, and I watched these what I thought originally were stars. They weren't. They were small lights in the shape of a wedge move away. It was huge, and I looked to my right and I realised where I am, because the leisure centre, or the old leisure centre as it now was, had the outside lights were on. And so I got my bearings then, and I literally pegged it to run home. And as I'm running, there's like mist, you know, you can imagine it around my feet as I'm running. I mean, there's a river by there.
That's been really scary for a 15-year-old, out here on your own.
I didn't have a clue. I mean, I was literally...
So what was your last recollection of what was before that?
I didn't have any. I didn't even remember the day before.
Well, you said you knew it was a Wednesday because the following morning your mother asked you about cleaning your football boots.
Yeah, that's right, my rugby boots.
Your
we used to play
boots.
rugby on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday, so that places that in your...
That's the only reason that I knew that it was a Wednesday that this had occurred.
So
because of that.
During the day you'd been in school, you'd finished school.
Well, I assume I'd obviously been to school. I've got no memory of going to school, but I didn't have my school uniform on. I'd obviously gone home from school, got changed, and either gone out or something else had happened, and I was in a jeans and a t-shirt, but it was the middle of winter and I had a t-shirt on.
Did you have rugby? Did you do rugby that night?
I've got no idea. But I must have done rugby because my rugby boots were dirty.
So it must have been after the rugby.
Yeah, I played rugby in school that day, and I've got the bus home, and I've come home, and then after that, nothing. I've got nothing for the whole day.
What time was it when you got home? Can you remember?
It would have been about Caldecott School is the comp, so it would have been about 40 minutes to get back. So about 4 o'clock I would have been home.
Yeah.
And then get changed, 4:30 say. I must have had food as well, because my mum didn't say where were you for tea last night. You know, so I must have had food, and then whatever happened after that, I haven't got a clue.
Oh.
because I got no memory.
So then you're here, and then you run home.
Yeah.
What time was it when you got home then?
Well, I don't know what time it was, but I didn't see anyone. There was nobody out. I mean, it must have been fairly late in the evening, but all the lights were still on in the houses. But as I'm running home, and you've seen it's quite a big estate, you'd expect to see people. I didn't see a single person. I run all the way home. I get home, and I'm thinking now, I get up by my front door, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get in trouble here. I must have, because I got no memory, I might have done something. So I think I'll go around the back. So I went around the back of the house, because we can go around the back of the house into the woods, and then into my garden. Whenever I was naughty, I'd climb up the drain pipe and I'd sneak in through the bathroom window. Well, that's exactly what I did. So, because I didn't want my mum catching me out. Yeah. So I climbed the drain pipe, got in, went to bed, and I thought, I'm going to get it in the morning. And I was expecting to get it in the morning. You know, I must have done something, I was thinking.
So far as
and
the
my
house
mum
from
never
here,
said a word.
How far is the house?
Well, maybe a mile and a half. Maybe a mile and a half. But literally, I got no memory of this at all, apart from standing here at that point and then seeing that craft, seeing my environment, suddenly feeling cold and running
you felt cold, yeah?
It was freezing, but I wasn't cold to start with. It wasn't cold to start with. It was like silent,
yeah.
And it was like this thing didn't make a sound, not a sound. But there was no wind. There was literally. I mean, you hear the birds now, but I mean, okay, it was the evening, so maybe the birds don't chatter then, but not a sound.
It was a clear sky, but you couldn't see stars.
Yeah, I could see stars until after it had moved away.
But you couldn't see them between these sort of chevron shapes.
Which is why I've said, was it one craft giant, or was it three wedge? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So these rows of lights were shaped like that, and they were all pointing that way.
Yeah. If you think of the Phoenix lights, but think of the lights as being a lot smaller and a lot more tightly packed. That's exactly what it was like. So wedge shaped like the Phoenix lights, but 2 rows of them.
2 rows.
Yeah.
So there's one.
So I could see the shape. That's why I could see the shape of the wedge, because there were literally a bank of lights and then another bank of lights.
Yeah.
And then
was there anything on the ends?
I couldn't really see the ends because it was so far that way and so far that way. I couldn't really see the ends, but.
So over the houses that way, and as far as the woods over there.
Past the woods.
Huge.
Yeah. So I mean, and it was very high as well. It wasn't. That's why I thought originally it was stars. Yeah, but it was so high.
So if it was that high and it covered that sort of bit of sky, it was even bigger than
colossal.
Like if it had been like 100 foot up, that's big.
Colossal.
If it's really high, it's even bigger.
Like 50 aircraft carriers size. That's how big. Yeah, it was colossal.
I think so far on the night of the triangles, all the witnesses, that's by far the biggest seen.
Yeah, there's been a few big ones mentioned.
Some jumbo jet size.
Yeah.
Natalie said it was over the street.
Yeah.
And it was big, and she only saw the centre of it.
Yeah.
And she said it was very quiet, and she didn't feel cold until after it had gone. That's when she did. Could you feel cold when it was there?
No, there was nothing. It was like I was in a bubble. Like it was like I was cocooned away from everything, and I was just like in a dull sort of daze looking at this thing. And then it's when I woke, sort of thing. If you know, I was alert, like it's going, it's gone, I can move. Yeah, and that's when I looked to my right and I saw where I was.
That's when you felt cold then.
And then I was freezing.
It's just like.
And then I suddenly realised, I go, what is going on? I got my t-shirt on in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And I've never had a memory about it since. You know, people say, well, that sounds like an abduction experience. Well, I've got no memory of being on board or anything, or seeing anything on board, or any of that, apart from stood here looking up.
Can I ask you, when it was going, did you actually see it move off into the distance?
Yeah, I did. I did. But I literally, see where that cloud is there now, the dark cloud? It got to about that spot, and I legged it.
Right. So you didn't actually see it.
No, I didn't wait. I literally, it got to that spot and
it's
I
a lovely
it.
sunny day in May the 1st in 2021, and it's difficult to sort of imagine this dark and cold, misty.
But it's very similar to what Natalie experienced when she had hers.
I think the mist came from the river. I mean, I've thought about it later.
There's a stream there.
Because there's a stream there, so the mist may have come from that, but it was eerie.
Well, we are in a valley.
It was very eerie.
And
Yeah.
you can't remember what happened when you got home. Was your mother?
No, well, I never told my mother.
All right.
We moved. I mean, I never said a word because my mum and dad didn't say a word. I thought, I got away with it. Whatever it was,
What
I
friends
got
in
away with
school?
it.
Did you mention it in school with your friends?
No, because we literally moved. I thought I was going nuts, to be honest with you. You know, I didn't have a memory of the day, and I didn't know what. I had a memory afterwards because I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Mm.
You know, it was really getting to me. But then we moved literally a few weeks later, and I felt that I didn't have to say anything. You know what I mean? I didn't have to tell my friends, and I didn't.
Mm.
Yeah. So I never did. I mean, literally, I told my mother about 9 months ago.
Really?
Yeah. I said to my mum, because now the last 2 years I've been getting into this. I hadn't even told her I'd been getting into this because I didn't want my family knowing.
So you moved from here. How long after the event?
Weeks. 3 weeks. That's another reason why I know the dates.
Did you ever come back here?
I haven't been back here since we came back.
No,
I came back here yesterday to check the place out to make sure we could park, and I haven't been back here since the day it happened.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed a bit, apart from the weather.
It hasn't changed a bit, apart from the leisure centre shutting down. It hasn't changed a bit. Yeah, no difference at all.
There is one report that was from Ilfracombe that there was a massive one seen going up the Bristol Channel towards Cardiff. We haven't been able to confirm that. It's just second-hand news we were given. Yeah. So we like to confirm, do research to confirm that it was in the papers, etc., etc.
Pass it on to me, mate, and I'll
but we can't.
I'd love to hear that. If somebody could tell me that they saw the same thing as me.
Apparently, it was 2 witnesses saw it. It was a fisherman fishing off Ilfracombe, off the rocks, and somebody else apparently saw it as well. So it's 2 separate witnesses, but we can't confirm because we can't find them and get hold of, we even went to Barnstable Library to do research to me about it, but we couldn't find anything. Yeah. But we were told it was in the papers over the next few days.
The wrong papers. We were only there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But did this event sort of start any interest in the UFO subject with you?
Well, I'd already been. This wasn't my first. I'd been since a little child. I'd been seeing things. I would. I'd float to the ceiling in my bedroom. I know it sounds nuts, but I'd have orbs following me around. I wouldn't have many friends when I was a kid because it was too strange. I'd go out on my own in the fields, and I'd have white orbs following me around. I'd go into the woods and they change colour to red. I had an appendicitis incident where I was out shooting with my air gun in the middle of the forest, and I collapsed because my appendix was about to burst. And as I'm on the floor, I get surrounded by orbs. So I've always seen orbs, but strangely enough, the little ones I haven't seen since the appendicitis thing happened. I've never seen the little ones since. I only see the big ones now. Yeah, I don't see Chris Bledsoe's forever saying he sees all these little orange orbs just in the trees coming down to him and things. I don't see any of those, but I do see these giant van-size orange ones, red ones, white ones.
I do know there was you did report one back in 2010, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When you were living in Landymore, North Gower.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be doing a follow-up film about that.
Yes, yeah. We'll do it
another day. I just have to say, Jonathan is actually joining us as a researcher because he's very active in his own research, and being at this corner of Wales, it's handy for us to have somebody looking at stuff done this way. So, welcome to Sufon.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Can I just ask you, when you had sort of woke up, if you like, in this field and you saw this thing, what sort of duration of time was it between then and when you ran away?
It was going really slowly. So, to get to that spot, it'd have literally taken a couple of minutes. It was literally hanging in the sky and just drifting, sort of thing. And then it finally get there, and I watched it in total awe, and then it suddenly hit me. Hang on, this is a bit dodgy. I better go. So that's when I pegged it.
So a couple of minutes.
And then I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes max to get home, and I'm in bed. And that was it. And literally, I haven't been back here since.
Okay. Yeah. Right,
well, it sounds like you had a couple of hours missing there, really, because you can't remember getting there, And then you can remember going home and then going to bed. So
Yeah, no, I've told this story to a couple of people, and they seem to think that I should get hypnotised, but I've always wanted to avoid that.
you've got to be
Not because
quite,
I want to avoid it,
yeah,
you know, because people will think I'm lying, because I don't want to hear anything bad.
yeah.
You
You've got
know,
to be,
At the moment, I haven't got a bad experience, and I prefer to keep it that way.
yes.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night now and
Yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
tense and
It's
we've met quite a few people now with missing time, and a lot are saying the same thing. They
Yeah.
just
you don't
leave
really
it there.
dig in too deep because,
No.
I've only ever had good experiences, and
Yeah.
I will discuss another time when we're not off camera something that happened that wasn't a good experience. But yeah, every other experience has been great. I've had no issues, and I enjoy seeing them. I'm happy when I see them. You hear me,
Yes.
if you see a video of mine, you hear my voice and my breathing go up because I get excited by seeing them.
yeah,
You know, I do. I can't help it. You know, I enjoy it. I'm smiling, I'm thanking them, and I'm in my head. You know.
yeah,
I try not to
yeah,
get out there.
yeah.
So would you class yourself as a very spiritual person, or
Yeah, spiritual
Psychic?
but not religious.
do you any psychic abilities?
I am very, very good at guessing. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Very
Intuition.
ridiculously good at
So
guessing.
intuition.
Yeah, I'll know if there's a hint of a story coming out. I'll know what it is before anyone else, and I'll tell that person that I know what it is, and they'll say, "How did you know that?"
Oh.
And that happens all the time. Yeah, and the big stories as well. Before the triangle story came out with Tim McMullen on Twitter, I knew a month before, and I had the story down to a T, every bit of it. In fact, I've even got the bits that he hadn't released, but I know they're true, and I will try it back.